Welcome. Today we're covering 360 defenses. We're going to cover them live side. We're going to cover them live side using the opposite hand. And you may ask yourself, why would you ever do that? We'll try to cover that. And then we'll cover it off angle. What if I'm turned and the strike comes from behind? Those are the techniques we're going to cover today. Have fun watching. We're going to start with live side defense. So here's the basic idea. 360 degrees gives you the impression of a circle. If you imagine a circle around your body, any strike coming from the outside to the inside of the circle is something you can defend. If you watch the positioning of my elbows, just concentrate on my elbows, you're going to see that I'm basically, as I move the positioning of my hands, I'm basically drawing a circle outside my body. Right? So this is the circle that we're learning to defend against. When the strike comes, I create my blocking motion using my forearm, using the blade of my arm, making sure my body weight is in, looking to make contact wrist to wrist, and looking to keep a 90-degree bend in my elbow. So the strike is coming into my circle, I'm making my defensive technique, I am looking to block. If we change position for a second, just to show you from this side, here's my block. You'll notice that my body weight is forward, my opposite hand is up. One of the things that I want to add to this technique is our counter attack. So now the strike comes, I block, and I simultaneously look to make a counter. It's very important to make that counter so that you can eliminate subsequent attacks, right? You can try to prevent subsequent attacks. So my strike is very important. This is how I buy myself a split second to then continue on and exit out, or if necessary, engage and stay in. That's my live side defense. Our center line is facing one another, looking to block, looking to counter, and looking to keep my body weight in. Something that I would like to stress to you guys is oftentimes I see in class blocking and then coming back and taking body weight out. Try to keep your body weight in for a split second and make the conscious decision of exiting out. Try to avoid blocking and then retreating every time. Block, counter, keep your body weight in, look to exit out. That is your 360 defense live side. Cool, now we're going to cover inside defense, live side, using the opposite hand. So here's the basic idea. Let's start off nice and slow. Here's the basic idea. This hand, assuming Noemi's going to strike with a right, I would typically look to defend with the same side hand. But now for whatever reason, this hand is out of position. I only have one hand available to me to make the defense. So I am looking to still make a block by using my forearm, making contact wrist to wrist, trying to put my body weight inside. In fact, if you guys are watching me from this angle, I am looking to drive my body weight in. You see me leaning forward. Still looking to drive my body weight in. Now that I've made the block, I'm immediately going to counter with a hammer fist, boom, boom, and use the rest of my body to make that defense. Now, I talked about having one hand out of position. Maybe that's not the scenario, right? Maybe instead you are facing a different angle. Here's the attack coming straight for your face. You guys will notice that coming around with the opposite hand and making my live side defense may be, I may not have enough time. I may not have enough time to make this defense, right? I mean, right now it's working out okay because I know it's coming, but if I'm totally surprised, chances are that my hand will come up and look to make that block. My near side hand will come up and look to make that block, right? So if I'm off angle, if I have a different kind of position, here comes the strike, I'm looking to block that strike and now I'm immediately looking to enter. So this is when we would use the off hand. It's not just if I'm facing my attacker and one hand is out of position because it's injured or whatever, right? It may not just be this scenario. It can also be I'm just oriented differently, right? And here comes the attack and I look to make my block using the closest hand available to me. Once I've made this block, again, I'm looking to counter if the opposite hand is available. If not, looking to make distance and using my kicks and so on. So this is when I would use a live side defense with the opposite hand. Great. See you in the next one. For your last one today, we're going to cover off-angle defense. The basic idea behind this again is I'm oriented differently. My attacker is behind me. I hear something, I sense something, or maybe I get hit with the first strike. And as I look to turn, again, closest hand will look to defend. Now that the strike is coming, you're going to see that the closest hand does not put me in the live side anymore unless I take a step this way, which would be kind of ridiculous, right? So instead now I'm going to look to shuck that slightly out of the way. You'll see my body rotating. I'm not using my arm to push. I'm making a block. I'm rotating my body. As my body rotates and that arm is shucked slightly out of the way, I'm focusing on this part of the arm. As the her strike retreats, I look to pin that arm in towards the body. Hopefully I get that motion, right? And I can make a good defense and put some body weight on it. I say hopefully because it's not great control, but it's still available to you and you should still aim for it. So one more time. I'm oriented differently. Here comes the strike. I make my block. As she begins to recoil, I shut that out of the way and I switch my arm and my feet. Even without knowing me for a second, here's my block. Now my body is rotating slightly to move that out of the way and I'm looking to enter right here. When I enter, I'm shifting my body weight through so I can make a good entry with lots of body weight behind it. Again, one more time.
David.
Here's the block, here's the shut, here's the entry, here are the strikes. If my partner decides to move away from me and does not allow me to get that control, that's okay, right? Because at the very minimum, I still end up on the live side. So let's demonstrate that. Here's my block, here's my shut. Now I look to enter, but she pulls away from me, but at the very minimum, now I am live side and I'm ready to block again if necessary or make my strikes. Great, now that we covered all three, let's put them together one at a time first, and then we start blending them in any combination that you want. So Noemi's gonna start me off, live side defense, here's my defense, here's my counters, I exit out, maybe here comes the same attack again, bam, bam, bam. One more time, Noemi, bam, bam, bam. Of course, she can attack with the opposite hand as well. It would be the same thing now on the opposite side, and the strikes can be low as well. I can make a defense and a counter low. Everything on the live side. We're going to switch it up now. My angle is different. My partner is making the strike. I make my defense. I make my entry and exit out. Of course, she can be on the opposite side of me, so you guys can switch it. Here comes this strike. I make my defense. I make my counters and I exit out. So you should work both sides. Okay. Last is the one where I have my back turned, right? Or my attacker is behind me. I hear something, sense something. I make my defense. Let's do that one again, nice and slow. Here comes my block, shuck, control, bam. If I'm on the opposite side, here comes the strike. Same exact thing on the opposite side. So you can work those slow with a partner a few times. If you don't have a partner, you'll need to go slower and just imagine the strike being there. There's nothing wrong with not having a partner. A lot of times working on your own, dry and imagining the strike and seeing yourself, visualizing yourself perform the technique, sometimes it's just as good as working with a partner. Okay. Once you've worked all those three things, one at a time, a couple of times each, for a minute or so each one, you can start having your partner blend them in. So here comes the live side, bam, bam. Maybe I orient myself different. Here comes live side using opposite hand, and maybe here comes that side, so you guys can work all those different techniques. Give yourself a bunch of reps and have a great time training.